Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Tonight on Q2, a Texas flea market, a secret box, and a piece of Montana history.
It's obviously pretty old, so you'd think a lot of people would want to keep that for themselves.
We dive into the mystery surrounding this more than 100-year-old badge. Plus, former Vice President Mike Pence makes a stop in the Magic City. We'll tell you why. And Dancing with the Big Sky Stars.
We always think we're going to win. You betcha. We're going to win. Yeah.
We'll get you ready as local celebrities try to waltz into the winner's circle. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this Friday. I'm Russ Riesinger. A century-old artifact is back in Montana after being discovered nearly 1,000 miles away. And luckily, it fell into the right hands. But now the Rosebud County Sheriff's Office is on a mission to find the story behind this badge. Our Casey Conlon has the story from eastern Montana.
The first Rosebud County Sheriff was appointed in 1901. Just inside the office doors here is an entire display case of the department's history. And they've got a new item to add to it. This badge that they're estimating is over 100 years old, and how it got here is quite the story.
I just kind of started scanning this on Wednesday night when I received this.
Meet Rosebud County Under Sheriff Scott McDermott. He started looking at this collage of old county sheriffs last week because of an email he received back in February.
It was pretty surprising to, see somebody take the initiative to reach out like that.
The email came from Oklahoma Highway Patrol Trooper Trey Sheets, who had come upon a unique item.
My mother and father were in Amarillo, Texas at a flea market at the Civic Center. They went in and they found a box and they bought the box. And in the corner of this box, they found that badge.
The badge is still in remarkably good shape, with Deputy Sheriff and Rosebud County, Montana, all visible. Sheets' parents figured he would want it, given his line of work.
I was a deputy sheriff for 5 years in Guymon, Texas County, Oklahoma. And then I joined the Highway Patrol in 2002. So I've got over 25 years of law enforcement.
So he understood what this badge could mean to its original home.
You just understand maybe on a different level the significance of something like that to the agency.
He offered to pay for it, and I was like, oh, don't worry about it. I said it'll be a donation to y'all's department because it's a part of y'all's history.
The badge was not only sent back to Rosebud County, but the two traded some patches and challenge coins, welcome additions to the Rosebud Department's collection. Then McDermott got to work, trying to trace the badge's history.
Notice that Sheriff John Vanderpower has a similar badge there, a 6-point with the balls on the end.
John Vanderpower was the Rosebud County Sheriff in 1914, meaning this one could be over 100 years old. It'll soon live in the front display case as they continue to work on its heritage. The best possible outcome? Finding a personal connection.
Man, if they could get it to a family member that, they've been looking for that badge, that would be awesome. That would be amazing for me.
In Forsyth, Casey Conlon, MTN News.
It's been a month since the Montana State Hospital lost its Medicare and Medicaid funding after a federal report found it was not meeting health and safety requirements. That led many to question what comes next, and that's what state leaders tried to answer at a legislative meeting today. MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian has details.
On Friday, state lawmakers pressed administrators for more details about what they're doing to address the ongoing safety and staffing concerns at Montana State Hospital. Adam Meyer, director of the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, testified before a legislative interim committee, providing an update on the state hospital. The Warm Springs facility lost access to millions in federal funding after inspectors say they failed to fix significant health and safety concerns. The state has brought in contractors to help them identify ways to improve their policies.
They're really helping us color in the line, so to speak, in a lot of areas where they're seeing gaps.
But lawmakers are also looking for more immediate actions. Representative Danny Tenenbaum, a Democrat from Missoula, was one of 4 lawmakers who toured the facility this week. He says he was shocked by the conditions.
It was disturbing and disgusting, and it's unacceptable.
He said some patients with dementia are being housed 4 to a room and pushed Meyer to commit to changing that.
I can't make any commitment to whether we can get people out by a certain deadline because we have to create places for them to go. I share your concern.
I know the space is there. We saw the space.
But Myers says opening that space isn't as simple as that. It requires staffing and licensing changes. He says the hospital's not understaffed, but it is reliant on contracted employees. That means more staff rotation, less consistency, and a need for better training. The committee also discussed some potential bill drafts dealing with the state hospital that could be introduced for the next legislative session. One of them would require the state to develop a plan to transfer out patients whose primary diagnosis is Alzheimer's disease, dementia, or traumatic brain injury. You can find out more about these proposals on our website. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
It was a lot of rain here in Billings yesterday, but take a look at this from the Beartooth Pass as plows work overtime to get the road ready for the season. It was all snow yesterday, nearly a foot of it, in fact, as whiteout conditions greeted plow drivers. The good news, despite the new snow, they are still on schedule to open 2 weeks from today.
Hello everybody, so snow is the story for those higher elevations, rain for the lower elevations. I'm meteorologist Matthew Hidalgo here in the Q2 Weather Center. So precipitation is moving across the region today and the chances of some thunderstorms. Taking a look at the convective outlook for today, this shaded area here is right below that marginal risk. Going to see the chance of some thunderstorms, general thunderstorms. Tonight we will see that precipitation taper off during the overnight hours, and as we get into tomorrow, we're going to see the chance of more precipitation and even the chance of more of those general thunderstorms across the area, but it's going to shift a little bit. Again, below that marginal risk, the shaded areas where we're going to see the chance of some thunderstorms tomorrow. So make sure to stick around. We'll talk about the rest of your weekend and what's on the radar coming up here in just a bit.
Former Vice President Mike Pence is in Billings tonight speaking at a fundraising event. Pence is the keynote speaker for Provision International Missions Banquet, which gets underway in about 20 minutes at Metro Park Expo Center. Provision International is a worldwide Christian ministry that's based here in Billings. They send donated crops to places that have little or no food, as well as clothing. Pence has been doing some campaigning for the midterms, but hasn't said whether he might make a run for the presidency in 2024. It's hard to believe, but graduation season is officially upon us in Montana, and thousands gathered at Brick Breeden Fieldhouse in Bozeman to celebrate the newest batch of Bobcats. Montana State University held its 136th graduation ceremony today. The university handed out a little more than 1,800 undergrad degrees and around 300 master's and more than 100 doctorate degrees. The University of Montana will hold its graduation tomorrow beginning at 9 a.m. A big congratulations to all the new graduates. New housing is officially open for employees at Yellowstone National Park. An announcement most would tell you is long overdue. These new homes are tucked away on a hillside south of Mammoth Terraces, and most visitors will never see them. They replaced 64 mobile homes from the 1960s and 70s that were in very poor condition. This is just the start. Hundreds of other housing units need upgrading or replacement as well. Park officials say this is great news for workers and also a big deal for visitors.
There's a direct correlation between a satisfied team member, employee, and their living conditions, and that translates to how they perform at work.
Big Sky Senior Services is hosting their annual Dancing with the Big Sky Stars event here at the Babcock Saturday. The funds raised from this event will help seniors stay in the comfort of their own homes. Joe Frank has been dancing nearly his entire life, and this Saturday, he'll get the chance to show people what he's got at the Dancing with the Big Sky Stars red carpet viewing party.
When we dance together.
I'm a little nervous about it, I'll tell you.
Joe is one of the 442 seniors who use Big Sky Senior Services, a nonprofit organization that provides home-based services for a low cost.
Based on the seniors' income, we can really adjust how much they're able to pay and still be able to provide the services that they desperately need.
Dancing with the Big Sky Stars is one of 2 annual fundraisers the organization holds. All proceeds go towards seniors staying in their own homes instead of living in hospice care or nursing homes.
They do so much So much work for the seniors.
There are 10 teams entered this year. Lynn Perry is part of the Renegades dance group. It's their second year competing in the event.
It's important to us that we support what may be our own support later.
The fundraiser is on Saturday at 6 p.m. at the Babcock. Tickets are $20 and are available online or at the door.
There's a silent auction, and it's going to be live judges there and a judge panel.
And Joe thinks he's got what it takes to win.
We always think we're going to win. You betcha. We're going to win. Yeah.
In Billings, Alina Howder, MTN News.
Still to come on the MTN 530 News here on Q2. Summer is often a time to be bear aware, but there's also something much smaller we have to worry about when venturing into the woods. And in sports, taco time. Tough on the field, but off of it, well, let's just say his choice of shows may surprise you. Scott catches up with another Golden Bear vying for Athlete of the Year.
The MTN 530 News continues right after this. From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
It's getting to be the time of year when many Montanans look forward to a hike in the woods or on the trails, but we have to remember we're not the only things enjoying the warmer weather. MTN's Andy Curtis has more.
While recreating out here in the mountains, there's a lot of big threats that we have to keep our eyes open for. Bear, moose, mountain lions, just to name a couple. But there's another very, very small threat that we also need to keep our eyes peeled for.
It's a really good time of year for ticks. They start kind of coming out and they're really hungry.
That's right, it's tick season. And if you're out on a hike and one of these little bloodsuckers attaches itself to you for a snack, it could lead to several serious problems.
You might get some irritation in the area either way, of course, because your body realizes that you've been bit by something, much like, again, after a mosquito bite or something like that, you might have some minor irritation. But what you want to watch for, even if you safely removed a tick, is going to be an actual rash developing in the area, and then any onset of fever or chills or fatigue in the next 2 weeks.
Luckily for us, there is no known tick that carries Lyme disease here in the state. But Rocky Mountain spotted fever, Colorado tick fever, and tularemia are possibilities. So watching any tick bite very carefully is important. But the big question is, how do you avoid being on the menu in the first place?
If you find a tick on you, one of the best things to do is grab a pair of forceps. If you have one of those in your medical kit or first aid kit, and grab them, try to grab them. Their mouth parts are barbed, so you want to try to grab as close as you can to the skin and pull that tick out.
If you agitate the tick too much while it's on you, or if you try to like twist it and rip it out, what's going to happen is that tick's actually going to regurgitate. And when that tick regurgitates, it's more likely it's going to pass a pathogen or some sort of infection onto you.
The myth that you take a match and kind of burn them from behind, that's not something that you want to do. It doesn't work very well.
And just like when you're protecting yourself against bears, a good spray can help out a lot.
We're at EPA recommended repellent, and you can put that on your clothes and on your gear as well if you're out hiking, for example. Along with that, it's a good practice to tuck your, and it's going to be funny, you can tuck the edge of your pants into your shoes, and what that does is that prevents a tick from getting in contact with your skin by possibly coming up your leg and under your pant.
For more information about ticks and tick bite prevention, check out this story on our website. Reporting from Helena, Andy Curtis, MTN News.
Coming up in weather, rain and storms in the area today, but will they be clearing out in time for the weekend? Matt will let us know with the full 7-day forecast next.
The MTN 530 News continues right after this.